it's very difficult to intellectually get to being because we identify with our perceptual experience, with our intellect, with our mind, with our ego identity. So it always seems a struggle till one day you stop struggling and you're there.
You sort of have to detach yourself from your thoughts and what you say. So you got to assume, you start by assuming that what you say and what you think is not necessarily you. And of course that's just the case, because a lot of what you think, in fact, most of what you think and most of what you say are the opinions of other people. They're things you've read or things people have told you. So you detach yourself from that. You're no longer your thoughts or the things that you say, or maybe you're no longer all of them.
These concepts have to be, when they come in, they have to be dropped like hot potatoes, because if you hang on to it, at that moment, the spirit gets obscured. If you think you are somebody who is somebody, immediately that would be the denial of the reality of it.
When I'm living falsely before other people, which is always the case, of course, and before myself, which is always the case, because I'm deceiving myself and you, I get a false feeling of life from it. Remember that phrase, if you will, because it will make other things clearer. A false feeling of life. I'm a very important person, either publicly or in my daydreams. If for some reason, the course of events, I have not become popular, I'm single, nobody likes me or wants to marry me or whatever, then I will get a false feeling of life through my daydreams, escaping into movies and fiction and things like that, having a dashing husband or a beautiful wife, and the two usually go together. Even if you're famous outwardly, you daydream, because it can't satisfy you at all. But I get a strong false feeling of life from this. This simply means that all these emotions are holding my false identity in place. And very few people will ever die to this, give up this feeling, this agitation, including the agitation of getting mad all the time, of getting hostile, of having enemies. We talked about this before. As long as I have enemies, I feel good, because I maintain myself through identifying you as the enemy. I give up you as the enemy. I no longer hate you. I don't exist as a hater. That is what I fear, dying to being a hater, because it still tells me who I am. You have to go a long ways. I have to go a long ways, right? See how every time we see something, we have to see something deeper behind it? So we track it down to this one. You don't have to go any further than this, believe me. If you see this, work with this, everything else will clear away. Simply this, that over the years I have built up this false idea of who I am, and therefore of what I should have from you and you. I'm a wonderful man, therefore you should love me, and all the rest of it, of what you owe me and all. So I have all these images, pictures of who I am. This is my hell, but I don't see it. I begin to see it. I begin to die to all these images, and even die to the fear of giving up my images, because it will come in. Then as I do this over and over, hard work over the years, studying hard, working hard on myself, I see that there's no fear at all in being nobody. Because this is what I was all along, but didn't see it and refused to see it, which does not mean that I don't exist. I'm here, but a totally new person is here. This one person, not divided from myself anymore. I am not divided from you. Therefore, I have no artificial religion, no artificial politics. I have should we use the phrase rightly? I have a natural religion. Be one with myself. And it's no different from yours or yours or yours. Therefore, we're not in conflict. What are we trying to prove?
The ego is actually our self-image. It is not our true self, but the true self that camouflages itself by labels, definitions, evaluations, analysis, and judgments. So when we create an identity based on an image, which usually represents the good and bad opinions of the world, then the sum total of that identity is referred to as the ego. The true self, of course, is the field of possibilities, the field of creativity, the field of intentionality, the field of power, field, I say, because it's non-local.